Welcome to Mind Slow. This is a quiet space, a place for slow English and simple ideas that help you grow. Life moves fast, thoughts become loud. It is easy to feel lost. Here, we slow down. We look at one idea at a time, one habit, one small change, one clear step forward. No pressure, no noise, just calm thinking and steady growth. Let us begin. It was early morning. The sun was just rising. A soft light came through the window. A young man named Alex sat on the edge of his bed. He felt tired, but knew he had work to do. Today was important. He had a plan. Alex wanted to improve himself. He wanted to be more disciplined. He remembered a time when he struggled to get out of bed. He would hit the snooze button many times. Each time, he thought, just 5 more minutes. But those minutes turned into hours. He often missed breakfast. Then he rushed to work. He felt stressed. Today, he wanted to change that. He took a deep breath. He thought about his goal. He wanted to start his day with a good breakfast. He wanted to feel ready for whatever came next. He stood up. He walked to the kitchen. In the kitchen, he saw a simple breakfast. He made oatmeal with some fruit. It was easy but healthy. As he stirred the oatmeal, he felt proud. This small step made him feel good. It was a choice he made for himself. After breakfast, he took out his notebook. He wrote down a few things he wanted to do today. Each task was simple. One was to read for 30 minutes. Another was to take a short walk. He wanted to practice discipline in small ways. He thought about how easy it is to forget these tasks. Life gets busy. It is easy to skip reading or walking. But he wanted to try. He realized that discipline is like a muscle. The more he practiced, the stronger it would become. Alex finished his breakfast. He felt ready. He opened the door and stepped outside. The fresh air greeted him. He took a deep breath. The world felt new. He walked slowly, enjoying the moment. As he walked, he thought about his goals. He wanted to be more focused at work. He wanted to finish his projects on time. He wanted to feel a sense of achievement. But he knew it would take time. It would not happen overnight. Discipline is built little by little. Each small choice adds up. Alex thought about this as he walked. He looked at the trees. They were tall and strong. They did not grow big in one day. They took years to reach their height. His thoughts turned to his work. He often felt overwhelmed. There was so much to do. But today felt different. Today he would take it one step at a time. He would not rush. After his walk, he returned home. He sat at his desk. The tasks in his notebook were waiting. He picked one. It was time to read. He opened the book and began. As he read, he felt calm. The words filled his mind. They took him to new places. He lost track of time. Reading felt good. It was a part of his new routine. He finished the chapter. He looked at the clock. It was time for the next task. He smiled. He had completed one step. It was a small victory, but it mattered. This was the start of something new. Each day he could choose to be better. Each day he could practice discipline. And each day he could feel a little more proud of himself. Alex closed the book and stretched his arms overhead. The sunlight streamed through the window, warm on his face. He felt good. He had done something positive. But now, he faced another choice. He looked at his notebook again. The next task was to take a short walk. He had enjoyed his earlier walk. It helped clear his mind. This time, he decided to walk around the neighborhood. He wanted to notice the little things. After putting on his shoes, he stepped outside. The street was quiet. A few birds chirped in the trees. He took a moment to listen. It felt peaceful. He started to walk slowly. Each step felt steady. As he walked, he saw the flowers blooming in the gardens. Their colors were bright. He noticed a small child playing with a dog. They were laughing. Alex smiled. It reminded him of simple joys. He thought about how often he rushed past these moments. Life can be busy. But today, he wanted to be present. He wanted to see everything around him. After a while, he reached a small park. It was a perfect place to sit. He found a bench and sat down. He took a deep breath. The air was fresh, and he felt relaxed. He closed his eyes for a moment. Thoughts floated in his mind. What else did he want to do today? He wanted to connect with friends. He wanted to call his sister later. They had not spoken in a while. It was important to keep those connections strong. As he sat on the bench, he remembered how easy it is to forget to reach out. Life gets in the way. But today was different. Today, he felt motivated to make those small choices. He felt a sense of responsibility to himself and others. After resting for a few minutes, he stood up. He felt energized. He walked back home, taking in the sights and sounds. Each step felt lighter. He was practicing discipline in small ways. When he got home, he grabbed his phone. He thought about what to say to his sister. He wanted to share his day. He wanted to hear about hers. He took a moment to think. Then he smiled and pressed her number. As the phone rang, he felt a bit nervous. What if she was busy? But then he remembered that it was okay. It was just a call. Hello? Her voice came through, bright and warm. They talked for a while. They laughed and shared stories. It felt good to connect. After the call, Alex felt a sense of happiness. He had reached out. He had made an effort. He looked at the time. There was still more to do today. He returned to his notebook. The tasks were simple, but meaningful. Each one was another chance to practice. He picked the next task. It was time to work on a project for his job. He took a deep breath. He knew this would take focus, but he felt ready. He sat at his desk again. The screen glowed softly. He opened the project file. With each click, he felt a sense of purpose. Each task, no matter how small, was a step forward. As he worked, he remembered the lessons of the day. Each moment mattered. Each choice counted. And with each choice, he was building the life he wanted. Alex focused on his project. The work felt important. He wanted to do his best. He began to type. Words flowed from his mind to the screen. He lost track of time again. But then, he noticed something. The screen felt bright. He shifted in his chair. His eyes needed a break. He stood up and stretched. He looked out the window. The sun was higher now. The day was moving on. He thought about his next task. It was time to take a break. He wanted to keep his mind fresh. He made himself a cup of tea. The warm steam rose gently. As he waited, he thought about how important breaks are. It's easy to forget, but taking a few minutes can help a lot. With the tea in hand, he walked back to the living room. He sat on the sofa. The tea felt warm between his hands. He took a sip and closed his eyes. The taste was soothing. He thought about his day so far. Each moment was a choice. Each choice added to his growing sense of discipline. He felt good about what he had done. After finishing his tea, he returned to his desk. He looked at his project again. He felt ready to dive back in. Each task was a piece of the whole. He knew he could do it. He worked for a while longer. The ideas started to come together. He felt a sense of flow. This was what he wanted. He was enjoying the process. But then he remembered something. He had not moved much. Sitting for too long can be tiring. He decided to take a short walk. It was a good way to refresh his mind. He put on his shoes again and stepped outside. The air felt cool now. He walked slowly, taking in the world around him. As he walked, he noticed a small cafe nearby. The smell of fresh coffee filled the air. It reminded him of mornings spent with friends. He thought about how nice it would be to sit and talk. But today was about discipline. He wanted to stay focused. He continued walking. The trees rustled softly in the breeze. He passed by a park again. Children were playing. They were laughing and running. Their joy was contagious. Alex smiled. He remembered how simple happiness can be. After a few minutes, he turned back toward home. He felt good. The break had helped clear his mind. He was ready to work again. When he sat at his desk, he opened his project file once more. He felt a new burst of energy. He typed quickly, ideas flowing. As he worked, he noticed how his thoughts were clearer. It was easier to focus. The small breaks made a difference. They were part of his new routine. He had learned something important today. Discipline is not just about hard work. It is also about balance. Taking breaks can help keep the mind sharp. After another hour, he saved his work. He felt satisfied. He had made progress. He looked at his notebook again. There were still tasks to complete. He picked the next one. It was time to prepare dinner. Cooking was another way to practice discipline. It required attention and care. In the kitchen, he gathered ingredients for a simple meal. He wanted to make something healthy. As he chopped vegetables, he felt calm. Cooking was a way to relax. He thought about how cooking can be a form of self-care. It was another small choice. With each meal, he was taking care of himself. After a while, the meal was ready. The smell filled the kitchen. It felt good to create something. He set the table and sat down. As he ate, he reflected on his day. Each task, each choice had added up. It was a journey of small steps. After dinner, Alex felt full and content. The meal was delicious. He enjoyed cooking, but now he faced another choice. He looked at his notebook again. The tasks were still waiting for him. The next task was to spend some time journaling. He liked to write down his thoughts. It helped him understand himself better. He found his journal and a pen. Sitting at his desk, he opened the first page. The blank space was inviting. He thought about his day. What had he learned? What had made him happy? He began to write. The words flowed easily. He wrote about his breakfast, his walks, and the call with his sister. He felt grateful for those moments. They were small, but meaningful. As he wrote, he reflected on his feelings. He noticed how good it felt to connect with others. He wrote about his goal of being more disciplined. He wanted to keep practicing. Each day was a new chance. Sometimes he found it hard to stay on track. Life could be distracting. But now he felt a sense of purpose. Writing helped him see that his efforts were worth it. After filling a few pages, he paused. He noticed how writing cleared his mind. It was like taking a breath after holding it for a long time. He felt lighter. He closed his journal and set it aside. The next task was to prepare for bed. He wanted to end the day in a calm way. He knew rest was part of discipline. He turned off his computer and tidied his desk. The space felt more organized. It was nice to see everything in its place. It helped him feel ready for tomorrow. As he moved through his evening routine, he took his time. He brushed his teeth and washed his face. Each action was a part of caring for himself. He felt relaxed. In his bedroom, he turned off the lights. The room was dark but peaceful. He sat on the edge of his bed for a moment. He thought about the day again. Alex smiled. He had taken steps toward his goals. He felt proud of himself. But he also knew that this was just the beginning. Each day brought new chances to grow. He lay down and pulled the blanket up to his chin. The day was done. He closed his eyes, ready for sleep. He felt satisfied. The small choices he made today filled him with hope for tomorrow. As he drifted off, he thought about what he would do next. He wanted to keep building his discipline. He wanted to keep growing. Each day was a new chapter. Each choice was a step forward. And with that thought, he fell asleep, dreaming of the possibilities that awaited him in the morning. The next morning, Alex woke up feeling refreshed. The sunlight peeked through the curtains. It was a new day. He stretched his arms and smiled. Today was another opportunity to practice discipline. He sat up and took a moment. What would he do first? He remembered his goal to have a good breakfast. He stood up and walked to the kitchen. The air felt cool against his skin. In the kitchen, he prepared oatmeal again. This time, he added nuts and honey. It felt nice to change it up a little. As he ate, he thought about how small changes can make things more enjoyable. After breakfast, he opened his notebook. He wanted to write down his tasks for the day. He noticed how writing helped him stay organized. It made each task feel clearer. He decided to add something new. Today, he would try to meditate for 10 minutes. He had read that it could help with focus and calmness. He felt curious about how it would feel. With his tasks written down, he took a moment to breathe. He felt ready. He sat in a comfortable spot on the floor. He closed his eyes and focused on his breath. At first, his mind wandered. He thought about his plans for the day, but he gently brought his focus back to his breathing. In and out. Slowly, he felt a sense of peace. After 10 minutes, he opened his eyes. He felt lighter. It was a small practice, but it made a difference. He stood up and smiled. This was another step toward discipline. Feeling energized, he moved on to his next task. It was time to read again. He picked up his book and settled into his chair. The words came alive as he read. He lost track of time, just like yesterday. The stories took him away. After finishing another chapter, he felt proud. He was building a habit. Each time he read, he felt his mind grow stronger. Once he finished, he looked at the clock. It was time for a short walk. He felt excited to step outside. The fresh air awaited him. He put on his shoes and opened the door. The morning felt bright and inviting. As he walked, he noticed more details than before. The flowers were blooming, and the sky was clear. He turned a corner and found a small coffee shop. The smell of coffee drifted through the air. It was tempting, but he remembered his focus. He kept walking. He reached the park again. The laughter of children echoed in the distance. He smiled. It felt good to see others enjoying their day. He found a bench and sat down. The sun warmed his face. He took a deep breath, feeling grateful for this moment. He thought about how important these breaks were. After a little while, he stood up and headed home. Each step felt purposeful. He was practicing discipline in small ways. Once he got home, he returned to his desk. The next task was to work on his project. He opened the file and felt ready. Each click of the mouse felt like a step forward. He lost himself in the work. Ideas flowed easily. He felt a sense of accomplishment. But soon, he noticed his eyes growing tired again. He remembered the importance of taking breaks. He stood up and stretched, then walked to the kitchen. He decided to make a cup of herbal tea this time. As the water boiled, he thought about how discipline helps him feel more in control. It was not always easy, but it was worth it. Each small choice was a step toward his goals. With the tea in hand, he returned to his desk. He took a sip and felt the warmth spread through him. It was comforting. He sat back down to work. The tea helped clear his mind. He typed with renewed focus. His project was coming together nicely. Each word felt right, and he was pleased with his progress. He worked for another hour, feeling the rhythm of his thoughts and actions blend together. But then, he felt a slight tension in his shoulders. He realized he had been sitting for too long again. It was time for another break. He stood up and walked around the room. Movement always felt good. After a few minutes, he decided to take another walk. He wanted to keep the energy flowing. He put on his shoes and stepped outside. The sun was shining brightly now. As he walked, he noticed the sounds of the city. Cars moved by, and people chatted on the street. He felt part of something bigger. Each person had their own story. He turned onto a side street and saw a small garden. Bright flowers bloomed, and bees buzzed around. It was a lovely sight. He stopped for a moment to enjoy it. Nature had a way of calming his mind. After a few minutes, he continued his walk. He thought about how easy it is to overlook these moments. But today, he was practicing being present. When he returned home, he felt refreshed. He sat down to work on his project again. The screen glowed softly. He felt ready to dive back in. As he typed, he remembered something. He wanted to reach out to a friend. They had planned to meet for coffee next week. He opened his messaging app and typed a quick message. "Hey, looking forward to our coffee next week. Hope you're doing well." Sending that message felt good. It was another small way to connect. He appreciated his friends and wanted to keep those relationships strong. After finishing the message, he returned to his project. He was deep in thought when he suddenly felt hungry. It was almost time for lunch. He knew he wanted to make something quick and healthy. He walked to the kitchen and opened the fridge. He found some leftover chicken and vegetables. It would make a nice stir-fry. Cooking was another chance to practice discipline. He gathered the ingredients and started chopping. As he cooked, he felt relaxed. The smell of food filled the kitchen. He enjoyed the process of creating a meal. Each stir of the pan was a reminder that he was taking care of himself. Once the food was ready, he sat down to eat. He took a moment to appreciate the meal. It was delicious and nourishing. He felt grateful for the simple pleasure of good food. After lunch, he cleared the table and washed the dishes. Keeping his space tidy was also part of his discipline. It helped him feel organized and clear-headed. With the chores done, he looked at his notebook again. There were still tasks waiting for him. He picked the next one, to review his project draft. He opened the file, ready to make some changes. As he read through it, he felt a sense of pride. He had worked hard. His ideas were coming together nicely. But then, he noticed areas that needed improvement. He made notes and began to revise. Each change felt like a step forward. He was learning and growing. Time passed quickly as he focused on his work. Before he knew it, a few hours had gone by. He took a deep breath and stepped back. He felt accomplished. But he also realized it was time for another break. He stood up and stretched again. This time, he decided to do a few light exercises. Movement always helped him feel better. He found a spot in the living room and did some simple stretches. As he moved, he felt the tension release. It was refreshing. After a few minutes, he felt ready to sit back down. Returning to his desk, he opened his project file once more. He felt a renewed sense of focus. He began to type again, feeling the words flow more freely now. The changes he made earlier felt right. He added a few new ideas, expanding on the points he wanted to make. Each tap of the keyboard brought him closer to his goal. After another hour of focused work, he paused to think. He had made significant progress, but there was still more to do. He glanced at the clock and decided it was time for a short break. He stood up and walked to the kitchen. The afternoon sun streamed through the window. It felt warm and inviting. He poured himself a glass of water, taking a moment to hydrate. As he drank, he thought about how important it is to take care of himself. Staying hydrated was part of that. It was easy to forget when busy with work. With the water refreshing him, he walked to the living room and sat on the sofa. He closed his eyes for a moment, letting his thoughts settle. He felt grateful for the day. Each choice he made was helping him grow. After a few minutes, he opened his eyes and stood up again. He returned to his desk, ready to dive back into his project. The screen glowed softly, waiting for him. He opened the file and began to review what he had written. There were still some parts that needed attention. He focused on making those adjustments, working carefully. As he typed, he felt a sense of determination. He was building something meaningful. With each keystroke, he was creating a piece of his future. Time flew by, and soon he realized it was late afternoon. He had been so focused that he lost track of time. He decided to check his notebook. There were only a few tasks left for the day. One of them was to take some time for reflection. He thought about how he wanted to approach this. Reflection would help him understand his progress. He closed his project file and took out his journal. Sitting at his desk, he opened to a new page. The blank space felt inviting. He started to write about his day. He wrote about his breakfast, the walks, the calls with friends, and the work he had done. Each moment felt important. He noted how the small choices had added up. As he wrote, he felt a sense of clarity. He was learning more about himself. He could see how discipline was shaping his life. It was not just about tasks. It was about growth. After filling a few pages, he paused again. He felt a sense of satisfaction. Reflecting had helped him see the bigger picture. He was on a journey, and each step mattered. With his thoughts written down, he closed the journal and set it aside. He glanced at the clock again. There was time for one more task before dinner. He decided to go for another short walk. The fresh air would be good for him. He stood up and put on his shoes. Stepping outside, he felt the cool breeze against his skin. The evening sky was painted in soft colors. As he walked, he noticed how the light changed. The world felt different as the day came to a close. He walked slowly, taking in the beauty around him. The trees swayed gently, and the birds sang their evening songs. Each moment was a reminder to be present. After a while, he turned back home. The walk had helped clear his mind. He felt ready to prepare dinner. Cooking was another way to practice discipline. In the kitchen, he decided to make a simple vegetable stir-fry. He gathered fresh vegetables and began chopping. The rhythm of the knife felt calming. As he cooked, he reflected on the day again. He thought about how each task had helped him grow. He felt proud of the progress he was making. Once dinner was ready, he set the table and sat down and began to eat. The flavors danced on his tongue. Each bite was a reward for his efforts. He felt grateful for the meal he had prepared. As he ate, he reflected on the day. The tasks he had completed filled him with a sense of accomplishment. He had taken small steps, but they all mattered. Each choice added to his journey of self-discipline. After finishing dinner, he cleared the table and washed the dishes. The simple act of cleaning felt satisfying. It was a way to care for his space. With everything tidy, Alex returned to his living room. He sat down on the sofa and took a deep breath. The day was winding down. He felt a sense of peace wash over him. He thought about how each day was a new opportunity. Tomorrow would bring more chances to practice discipline. He felt excited about what lay ahead. As he relaxed, he picked up his journal one last time. He opened it to the page he filled earlier. He read over his reflections. Each word reminded him of his progress. He smiled, feeling proud of himself. The journey was not easy, but it was worth it. He knew that with each day, he was becoming stronger and more disciplined. With his thoughts settled, he closed the journal and placed it on the table. The evening light began to fade. He felt ready for bed. He stood up and walked to his bedroom. The day had been full, and now it was time to rest. He changed into his pajamas and climbed into bed. As he lay there, he felt grateful for the day. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Each moment, each choice was leading him to a better version of himself. He felt a sense of calm wash over him. Tomorrow would be another chance, another day to practice discipline, another day to grow. With this comforting thought, he drifted off to sleep. The possibilities of the new day awaited him, and he felt ready to embrace them.